So this is chapter 2, first break all the rules. And first on chapter 2, it's like from words from the wise and like who did Gallup interview. And so I really liked his process on how he asked for like the clients to give them great managers. So he had like clients from everywhere just like giving him new managers. And it was like, who do you think is the best manager in your company? And like they like went around and like the question he asked was, which of those managers would you like to clone? Not which one like is your favorite, because essentially like your favorite isn't always the one that you want to clone. It's essentially the one who's like doing the best and like is the best at keeping the company going and keeping the company like working. And so as like his whole thing was like he was just trying to figure out who like the best manager in total would be. And then at the very end of it all, he pretty much is like, the truth is they don't have much in common at all. He's trying to find this one common denominator for all these like managers, but not one singular one is alike, because each person has their own personality and like their own things. And so all these things, he pretty much said that like since they don't have much in common, they do have like essentially one thing, and their shared like thing is that they kept like returning and they kept coming back and they kept putting their all into their like company and their like management and then their like people. Like they put like their time in, like just because their personality isn't common, the like way they fully put themselves into the company was essentially the same. And so then when you go into the second part of it, chapter 2, it's saying what great managers know. And it's like, what is the like insight and shared between all of them. And so I really liked the part where it said teach them skills and competencies to fill in the traits they lack, and all of your best efforts as a manager should focus on either muzzling or correcting what nature saw fit to provide. And so essentially like looking at this is like each trait that you have or lack, essentially you're trying to fill and so finding someone to perfectly fit the place in that company where you're lacking that, I think is where like he was really trying to focus on. And like what great managers do is they try to fix that lack. So like where they see something lacking, they are like, oh, we need this kind of person, and so they bring that person in, and hopefully it's like the best fit for the company. And so off of this, they said instead like they capitalize on them, they tried to help each person become more of who they already are. And I think that's like a great managing skill, because like essentially what Gallup is trying to do is take like everyone's strengths and turn them into like superior strengths, rather than focus on your weakness and turn them into little strengths. Because essentially if you focus on your strengths, your weaknesses like hopefully will grow over time. And yes, while it is good to like focus on your strengths, like really focus on your weaknesses, focusing on your strengths is like a much better skill, as you like know how to actually apply what you're doing, instead of just like kind of being like an overall, like if you have like some strengths that are down here and some that are like way up here, like why focus on these to like really like level yourself out and just be like a level kind of person, when in reality you can keep these, like obviously this will go way up and then this will go just a little bit up, but you can really be like, okay, like on your resume you aren't like, oh, I'm an overall good person. No, you really capitalize on like, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at Excel. I'm good at all this stuff. So like essentially why just kind of like make yourself like a level person, when you can really be like, this is who I am and this is where I will fit in your company for like the perfect reason. And so like managers like really try to like focus on those strengths and make them like more of like who they already are, and really like make themselves like a better person through that. And so like essentially when you like pick out your person, you were looking for like the better of the whole company and the better for you and the better for them, rather than like just like, oh, I'm gonna hire a random employee just to like fill the spot. And so then going on to the part 3, it said what great managers do. And so the people like really in conventional wisdom is essentially the correct way of hiring someone. And so like through that, like the great manager will break all of this. And so the conventional wisdom like says that a manager is not important, and like you have to like only work on speed and flexible and agility, when really like breaking those rules and like really becoming like a great manager is like you pretty much are focusing on the people and making them better and like growing your company. And like the manager should be a leader, and so through that it's not just a manager, and I think that a manager should be a great leader other that. And so as it says, like our today's business pressures are like a lot more intense than they have been in the past, but like through that, like just because they're more intense doesn't mean that you should lack in being a leader, because they're more intense, that's when your people need you the most, and that's when you need to like really rely on the like say manager or upper person to like really like lead you and guide you in that spot. But if you don't have that and they're just like really focused on like go mentality, you're not going to create a long lasting company. You're only going to create good short term, which can be good to an extent, but the long term is obviously the better goal. I think that in this chapter also, or like in this section, it said you must know the difference between talent, skills, and knowledge, and you have to know which can be taught and which can be only be hired in. And so like you can like create skills and knowledge and talent essentially to an extent, but like knowing exactly what a person can bring to the company and like really like hire them in for this role is like essentially you just need to know the difference between like how you can hire people and how you need to bring people up. And so some people like get placed in the wrong position, which is totally sometimes like normal. People do that all the time. But if they fit a better position, why not grow them into that position more and like work on their skills and their knowledge? Because if they already have the skills and knowledge of this and they're stuck in here, they're not going to grow and develop at all in this section when they really need to be in this section. And so like really knowing where your employees need to go like is a big chunk of this. And so as like a manager, it really said that you need to invest your time into like the people and who you spend it with and how you spend it. And I think that is a skill that all managers should have, because they have like, because if you're a manager, you have to be a leader, and to be a leader, you need to spend time and keep your time open to be with the people that you're leading. And so through all that, that's how like a great manager is a great leader as well, because they put their time into their employees and really know them. And so then as I went through this, they say great managers look inward and great leaders also look outward. And so like also looking inward and outward of the company, like how you can do both like simultaneously rather than just one and the other. For this chapter, I ended up selecting my manager, Chris, who has been at Dutch Bros for 7 years, and he, I think, embodies a leadership role very well. He also has a heart for a lot of people. I think there obviously is room to grow for every single person, and so I just wanted to take like what his mind was and where his was at with like employees and how he went about each one, which I will email you that with this link. But I think that it was just cool to see like this like truly like play out in an actual like real business, because like I see it firsthand, and like not many people see it firsthand, only the people inside the company see it firsthand, but like how it's seen outward also can affect. And so I think it was cool just to like see a different eye on it. And so I went through and like asked him like essentially if a person was like in trouble or getting written up, like how you kind of go about that, and like through this, what would you like do? And he was really like personable and also very like I'm there for you type person, and wants to see you thrive and grow better. And so his motivation is more like, oh, how can I help you, and asking more of like an opinion of like the employee rather than just like immediately being like, oh, this is exactly how they want to be treated. And like some people, like he had mentioned that some people completely are different when they need to be told like if they're doing something wrong. So essentially there's some people who are like, I need to be told when I'm doing wrong right at this second. And so like a little thing is like closing my ice bin after I grab like someone's cup of ice. If I close the ice bin, say I don't close it, and they don't tell me. And so I'll just keep like repeating not closing it because they don't tell me. So I am more of a person to be told like in the moment. So like people are like, hey, Lily, close your ice bin. I'm like, oh, okay, close it. Rather than some people, if it's in the moment, they'll get like really stressed out. And so then he was saying that you need to just like, he was saying how people just learn differently. And so like some people like being pulled aside after the shift and being like, hey, can you work on like closing your ice bin kind of thing? And so they don't feel as like stressed with that. And so like how the great managers play these roles, the like 4 keys, the last one. So it was like select a person, set expectations, motivate the person, develop the person. I think that he really like took a good eye on that. And then I think it was cool because he also put it into my own perspective as I'm trying to like move up in the company. He was kind of like, how he like turned it on me essentially and was like, how can you fully like do that in your experience? And I was like, and I've been trying to make connections with every single person, and I have, in the one person that I wasn't connecting with, I finally connected with. And he was like, see, look at this now, like you would be scared to like tell this person like if they could like close their ice bin, essentially you'd be scared to do that however long ago. And I was like, yeah, like I would. And he's like, well, would you be scared now? And I was like, no, I actually wouldn't. So like essentially like growing those relationships and keeping them strong and like actually motivating a person after you have relationships, it builds like trust and like consideration for other people's as well, because you can like truly see like who they are and like what they need to be told in the moment and like how they need to be talked to. And so I think it was really cool how he kind of like switched on me and was like, here and now this is like what you can do to do this. So I thought that was super cool. And so this chapter was cool to like actually take it into like a perspective of myself and like how Gallup actually like took his managers and like really just like no managers the same ever. And I can see that between like 3 jobs that I have, and like no manager is the same, but like the way you grow yourself could be the same. It just is how each person like does it. And so I think it was really cool just to see like what you could work on and like how you could do it.